Pirating? Well, it's obvious it's destroying the industry. It's destroying musicians' livelihoods. Everybody does it, or at least younger people tend to be the ones doing it. To me, there's a lot of music, and when there's too much of a product of any kind, the price goes down. Right now it's almost at zero, or at zero. If something was rare and hard to obtain, that's when the price goes up. And the problem is, I remember years ago, I saw this coming in the late 80s in Los Angeles, where I live. Richard Branson opened a big shop on one of the main streets in Los Angeles, a Virgin megastore. And he even came down from a helicopter, crazy guy. He came, it was a big deal when this shop opened. It was the biggest record store, video, everything, just multimedia shop. Huge. It was like a mall by itself. And I'll never forget the first time I walked inside that shop. I walked in and I practically fell on my knees. I went, how is it possible for anyone to find my album in here? It was overwhelming. There were literally millions of records in there. So then I thought, there's just too much music. And people find it very hard to differentiate between what's good and what's not. If they're not musicians, art is subjective. So people will, if they like something, they don't like something, that's all there is to it. And so I thought the future is very grim. I'm going to try an experiment on my next album. With the internet being so available everywhere, my next release, this next album I'm working on, will not be available on any of the traditional sources. I'm not going to make a CD, so people can't copy the CD. I'm going to make it like a funnel website where you have to put your email address in, and then you have your choice to buy. I'll have some examples, but streaming only, just like a radio service that most, Spotify and all these other people provide. Spotify pays 100,000th of a cent per play, which is an absurd. The whole thing to me is a complete farce. It's a debacle. It's a disgrace. What services like that pay the artists. It's insufferable. So I say screw them, and I want to make my product rare. Right? For the same reason I said before, if something's rare, it makes it valuable. So I don't want to be distributed on all the Apple, where everybody else is making money except the artist. And to me, it's like putting the cart before the horse. Without the artists, there is no music, right? And I consider my music valuable, as most artists do. So you can see I'm very passionate about this. So I want to make a website where it's the only source for this music, and it's streaming only like the streaming services, but I will add content such as behind the scenes video, maybe some outtakes, that kind of stuff, to entice people to buy the record and support the artist. But it'll be the only place for as long as it's the only place. But if it's streaming only, at least people can't download it, and I'll make it as secure as possible. The software companies are doing the same thing. The whole idea that we have the cloud is because software companies don't want to produce their DVD product anymore because people copy them. So now companies, big software companies, are saying, enough of this. We'll give people, for a small amount of money, they can have access, You keep your own files, but you have access to the actual software on the cloud, so you can't ever own. And in general, people don't want to own the music. They don't want a stack of CDs or LPs like our generation. Kids just want access. So I want to provide access, easy access for my next record, and make my website for this album the only source for the record. So I'm going to try that as an experiment, and we'll see what happens.